Hey y'all, hey, we are back for another review of Sisters, and we are on season 7, episode 11, entitled Gone Girl, which is exactly what Penelope has gotten herself into. Also, we are at the mid-season finale, so after today's review, we'll be on hiatus for at least a couple months. So let's just jump right into it. We are back at Andy's office, not Andy, Gary's office, and the cleanup crew is in there. They're mopping up what appears to be like a pretty good amount of blood. And he's rushing the crew because he's having like flashbacks of what he did to Penelope. He's like, listen, y'all need to hurry up, get this done because we need to move on with our lives. I'm just glad to have, the lady out of here, or whatever he's insinuating. The crew leader tells him, like, listen, this ain't our first rodeo, Gary. We're taking our time. We're doing what we need to do. However, even the cleanup crew is not sure what has happened there, which would give you like a presumption that maybe he got rid of the body before they got there, and then they're just there to clean up whatever's left over. So, because the cleaning crew is not really clear on what has happened here and, what they're actually cleaning up, but they're there to do what Gary's paid them to do. So, again, my hope is that, Penelope may still be with us. Maybe she just ended up, miscarrying the baby because of Gary pushing her down. That's just my guess and my hope. Yeah. All right, so Andy wakes up and she is screaming. She's screaming, stop, leave me alone. She was taking a nap. Her and Jordan were talking, and he's like, what's up? What happened in the dream? And she's like, she remembers a woman screaming and blood being everywhere, which, that would lead us to believe that could potentially be about Penelope. And so, that's what happened in that scene. Andy gets to work, and Miss Marie is waiting for her, and she's very impatient, and she's like, well, girl, why weren't you here when I got here? She's mad and upset because Andy wasn't at her office, even though they did not have a scheduled appointment for that day. And she reminds her, like, listen, I don't live life on anybody else's schedule, and you need to be here, when I need you. But Miss Marie, again, you didn't have no appointment, so what is it that you want from me? I guess she's expecting Andy to just be sitting around waiting on her call or waiting for her to show up because she is who she is. But no matter how rich you are, that ain't really how life works. But girl, we just gonna go with it. All right. She tells Andy that she's there to work on her protecting her fortune, and so that's what the job that they're going to be there to do today. Moving over to India. Sabrina was talking to, I can't remember who, she was talking to somebody on the phone, and towards the end of the phone call, Miss India comes to her, and she's kind of giving her a little bit of pseudo stank, right? She's like, listen, I hope you're not taking a personal call, because I also hope that this is not the example that you're going to be setting for the new employees as the new branch manager. And Sabrina is almost, she almost misses the announcement by way of trying to, apologize and let her know, like, my bad. I'm sorry about that. She's like, what? What did you say? You said branch manager? Okay, so, congratulations. Sabrina has earned the branch manager position. She deserves it, and she can barely contain her tears and her excitement in this moment. And so, we're all glad that Sabrina has her job back, and, she's gotten back to the status that she has earned with this company. Now, she shouldn't have had to work her way back up, but this is what we have to deal with. All right. Zach brings Fatima some lunch at work, and while they're sitting there, Danny calls Fatima and tells her to let her know, like, hey, you're more than welcome to come to our little mocktail thing at Rich's Juice Bar later today. Even though Karen had just got done calling and whining about Fatima not being present and not being inviting, and Karen and Danny going back and forth about, who's loyal, who's not, who can tell who not to bring, who where, all that good stuff. And so my question for you guys, let's talk about it in the comments, is was that messy or not? I feel like it was messy, but it was kind of like a tit for tat thing. It was like Karen was kind of throwing out threats and telling people who can come where, even though nobody, when you say, the girls meet me at this place, we all know that it's the 4. Nobody actually automatically invites Fatima, on most occasions. So I don't know why, you go out of your way to be like, hey, make sure it's not little Miss Man Fatima. Don't bring her here. Whatever. But I guess, was it messy, or was it like just retaliation for Karen thinking she could tell somebody what to do even though she's not nobody's mama just yet? Either way, moving right along. Fatima is she's sure that Karen does not want her to be there. But Zach, after the call is over, Zach tells her, listen, I give you the blessings because I give you my blessings to go because at some point y'all have mutual friends. Y'all have a vested interest in who I am to both of you guys potentially. So she needs to get used to the fact that y'all may have more in common than she thinks and that you may be around. Maybe this could be the olive branch of sorts. It sounds good. It's not going to go off like that in practical application, but of course, Fatima is going to show up to the mocktail celebration for Fatima's branch manager position. All right, so Andy is telling Miss Marie about her strategy for her husband. As a part of that strategy, she wants to issue a gag order, which is going to keep him from talking to the press about the case while it's going on. And Miss Marie, she's like, listen, while a gag order sounds good, I doubt that it's going to be effective, as we have, strippers and different people that violate those NDAs and gag orders every day just so they can spill the tea, in these interviews and, TikTok and all these different places in today's world. So how effective do you think this is going to be for my wayward husband? And she's like, it's a good idea, but this kind of supports my claim that you need a co-counsel. And of course, in walks Hayden, just waiting for his opportunity to show up and shine, right? And so he shows up with his fake concern, saying that he's concerned about her losing a sizable amount of money, which is why he had done some research and he wants to tell Miss Mary what he found. He tells her that he went over her pre and her post nuptial agreements that her husband signed, that her previous team got him to sign, and he found a basically an ironclad asset protection trust that included a great portion of what she brought to the table when they first got together and a whole lot of what she's gained since they've been married, meaning that Georgia law is going to protect every single thing that's covered under that trust, and any lawyer that's worth their weight in salt would have known this and would simply enforce the rules of the trust. And this seems to impress Miss Marie, and now he's been assigned as co-counsel, and him and Andy now have to work together. And Andy, she's trying to tell her, like, listen, it sounds great. It's not going to be that easy. But, of course, Miss Marie has been impressed by Hayden, unfortunately. And now they have to work together. So that is what we're going to have to deal with when the show comes back, unfortunately. So let's just prepare our hearts and minds to continue seeing Hayden, right? Great. All right. So Sabrina goes to tell Maurice the good news that she has the branch manager position. And she also says that Peyton has done something along the lines of doing freaky stuff with the customers that has gotten her fired. And so she's not even a contender. Now, I know she earned it, but I don't know where Paige getting fired falls in at. You know what I mean? Like, was she fired before or after the decision was made? Or was it like, oh, you only had 2 contenders and one is fired and you just gave it to her by default? Or were you moved by her outward display of emotion about her passion about this job and what she has earned? I definitely would have been interested in seeing how that came about, just to see how, was it a pity hire? Was it a pity promotion? Or, truly they believe that that Sabrina has the capability. Just something interesting that I thought about. Either way, it turns out that Maurice is the one that dropped the dime on Paige. He must have found some sort of anonymous report or something saying that she was giving knowledge to the customers outside of the building. Doubt that it's true, but who really gives a damn at this point, right? And Sabrina, normally she's Miss Goody Two Shoes and do the right thing. Why did you do that, Maurice? That's normally her countenance. However, she ain't even mad that he did it. I'm not even mad at you. And then she, tells Maurice, listen, I would love for you to come back to the bank, to take your rightful position, beside me is my friend and my coworker. And Maurice is more than happy to accept the invitation. He was kind of hanging his hat, on Sabrina being able to get him back at the bank anyway. So, that's good because I don't think we've heard anything about this lawsuit that he talked about. So we don't have to fight that battle with, him having to backpedal on the lawsuit. I think he never even pursued it. He can quit this job, with the adult entertainment, even though, hell, you're probably going to make more money in that industry. So I wouldn't give it up a whole lot, especially when you have a lot of fans and followers and admirers and people that's willing to pay you for your time. That's just me. Yeah. So now they're going to be back in action when we come back, from the mid-season finale. All right. unfortunately, this is one thing that I don't hope happens when we return from mid-season break, is that somebody finds out that Maurice is the one that set Paige up, quote unquote, and then that becomes like a new issue at the bank. I don't have the space for it. Let them people just exist in the bank in their job with minimal issues. We've had a whole lot of issues for them too in the last season and a half, so let things go smoothly for a minute. All right, so Pam asked Karen for some extra lunch time to go see Sabrina at the bank about a business loan. She wants to be like her role model, and Karen is like, well, who's your role model? Oprah, Beyonce, like who are these people that's your role model? And Pam is like, no, it's not any of them. It's you. It's Karen. The way that you were resilient through the fire, rebuilding your business, to break up with Zach, just everything else. You've taken a lot of stuff on the chin, and you were able to rebuild and continue being a businesswoman. And so that, that definitely softened Karen up. And she was like, okay, take as much time as you need, girl. Thank you for even considering me, a role model of sorts. I appreciate it. And, she's fighting back tears because she is moved by the fact that somebody, at least one person, sees that, she's been resilient in all these things. And I just feel like more people would be willing to realize that you were resilient if it were not always clouded by visceral hate, pettiness, attitude because things not going your way. All of that can kind of overshadow all this goodness that you have to show to the world, unfortunately. All right. Tony gives Danny a gift. And it turns out, we thought it was her faux pearl necklace that the daughter shook her down for, but it is not. It is one that is real pearl. It's new. It's great. And she's eternally grateful, that he went above and beyond to make things right. At least as far as the necklace is concerned. So that is resolved. Sure. All right. Andy is flabbergasted. She is pacing the room. She can't believe that Hayden's been able to worm his way into co-counsel. And so she tells Fatima, what just happened. And then he rolls in and she's like, listen, like, what is your angle, Hayden? What are you attempting to accomplish here? Of course, he ain't really trying to answer the questions. He's slinging insults and all this crap. And she knows that he really wants to bandwagon on this case just so he can have a shoe in for the, as the partner. And she confronts him with that information. And so whatever, she just confronts him with that. And we now have to deal with these two that are going to have a pissing match throughout the entirety of this case. All right. Somebody named Ethan, whoever he is a, anyway, he's here to join Jordan's political campaign. He's there to help out. We learned that Jordan did 5 years in the Army. He's got his bachelor's, his master's in political science. He, volunteered with the NAACP. He volunteered with Black Lives Matter. He has all these accolades that would lend itself to his political science background and his, solidify his application for wanting to be a part of Jordan's political aspirations. And Jordan's like, Jordan's like, what makes you want to join our small town operation here? What is it about it? Because with all these accolades, you could, easily work for greater corporations and all this stuff. And he believes in Jordan's campaigns and his platform and wanting Atlanta to continue thriving under the guise of diversity, while addressing systematic racism, blah, 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 blah. Essentially, he's interested, and I'm saying blah, 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 because by the end of the episode, we'll realize that Ethan is full of crap, and he's just here on another mission. But we'll talk about it. Essentially, he's interested in diversity, and tells him he's volunteered with the Black Lives Matter for 2 years and some other organizations. And so this has won Jordan over. And so now he has the job, and now he's a part of the inner team that is Jordan's, campaign team. All right. Gary's assistant comes in and, they're talking, and Ethan immediately calls Gary's assistant. So now we know that Ethan is a plant from Gary, right? And Ethan is like, listen, guys, I'm in. I'm good. I got a shoe in. I got the position. The plan is on. Again, we know that this is Gary's plant, and now we are back on the attack Jordan train. My issue is, sir, you have the FBI on your trail. You just potentially unalived your fiance and baby mama and child. Andy is hot on your trail with all this evidence that she was able to come up with from the private investigator. You just have a lot of problems. So Jordan should not be at the top of your list of things to be worried about. However, here we are, and this is now what we have to deal with. I'm just out of all the things to be worried about, Jordan should not be on your list, but your visceral control that you have for these women in your life is going to supersede all of your sound judgment. And so now, this is what we got to deal with. Great. All right. Rich gets Sabrina a gift, before the girls show up for the mocktail session. It's some bag that she's had her eye on. She's going to use that in her new branch manager position. Congratulations. All the girls start to show up, including Fatima. She's early, in fact. And, Andy and the other girls are, for whatever reason, lying. And I don't think they're lying, obviously or consciously, but we all know that it is a lie. But they're assuring her that there won't be any drama. Things are going to go over well. But let's be for real. Karen ain't having it. Karen also shows up with Pam. Now, there was also a scene during the episode where you see Karen apologize to Pam, right before they got there. And I think she even asked Pam to accompany her, which tells me Karen was going to show up on some BS. And I think she also is building an ally in Pam. Like, Pam has been on her employee and pseudo friend for quite some time. And maybe she realizes, this friendship thing is going to cease or pause with some of the other girls because there's an uptick in friendship with Fatima. And ultimately, she's going to make everybody have to pick a side or whatever it is. And so she's going to have to align herself with somebody, a new friend, because she's going to drop all the girls by the end of this conversation just to get to it. So Pam is probably there just to kind of have somebody that's on her side. All right. Of course, Danny cannot be bothered with these mocktails. Her and Fatima is spiking their mocktails immediately from the flask that she has brought with her. Her and Fatima, they're spiking the things, and Karen is like, of course you're not going to stand in solidarity with the rest of us. The rest of us being, Andy's agreed to the mocktail session. Sabrina's not going to do it because she's got the fertility stuff. And Karen, of course, you've been fertilized. So ain't nobody really drinking. But Danny's like, okay, girl, whatever. Karen's like, yeah, of course she's selfish. And now we got to go back and forth because things are already tense with Danny and Karen earlier in the day. Now, Fatima and Karen get into it over the paternity crap. Yeah, because Karen is wondering why she's even friends with Danny. She let Zach moving with her when they weren't good, and now she's besties with that B word, Fatima. And you're best friends with Fatima, somebody that's not trying to let your homeboy Zach be a dad to his kids, like just spewing all the stuff that she's created in her mind, right? And then Pam chimes in. I don't even know what the hell she said. I guess she was like, yeah, Karen ain't got no reason to lie or whatever it was that she said off screen. And Fatima is like, listen, I don't even know you like that, but I'm going to remind you that Karen is pregnant, so I'm sparing whooping her ass. But you are not, and you can get it. So you need to pipe down because you're really not that important in the situation. So now they got to go back and forth a little bit, whatever. And so Sabrina's trying to diffuse the anger, and Karen accuses her, trying to be Ayanla and fix everything and minimize the issues that are happening within the girl group. And Karen is like, Sabrina's like, girl, I'm just, trying to make sure we don't come to blows. And then she tells Fatima that since you already got my man, that you can have these friends too. I'm done with it. And Danny tells them that she's tired of trying to prove her friendship. So, of course, Karen's going to make her grand exit. And so the girls are talking, and Danny tells them, listen, I'm tired of trying to prove my friendship to somebody that can only see what she perceives as evil in me. And that's a word. That was a word. If I have not heard one in a while, like, stop trying to prove yourself to people that only sees the negative in you, that only thinks you out to do bad stuff. Because, girl, if you feel that way, why is you my friend? You know what I'm saying? But either way, that was the gist of the girl meeting. Now Karen is over here with Pam, and she ain't bothering to be friends with nobody else. She has canceled this friendship about 17 times within the last 5 seasons. So if it sticks, we don't know. Now, as far as Danny and Karen are concerned, I feel like we can sever that because I don't feel like I feel like they were kind of friends by association, because you can see where like Sabrina and Karen talk on the phone often, and Andy and Karen talk, and Karen and Sabrina talk, but you kind of see where Danny is always kind of like the odd man out when it comes to interactions with Karen. They're always at like little spats or whatever, so maybe it's in the best interest. Maybe we've outgrown this particular way that the group is set up. So we'll see. All right. Jordan calls Andy to see if she's heard from Penelope. He hasn't been able to reach her all day. And Andy knows that she's talked to her recently, but she does not say anything to Jordan. Now, I feel like if you're the last person to see the sister and you realize that the brother ain't heard from her all day when he normally does, like anything that far outside of the norm, you should say, hey, I talked to her earlier. I told her this, this, and this. Maybe that's a conversation she wants to have in person. We'll see. But either way, she does not allude to anything while on the phone, but she now has to go. Andy and Fatima, they rush out because they need to go investigate and see what's going on. They know that Gary has something to do with it, so they run straight to Gary's office and asking him questions like, hey, where's Penelope? Can't nobody find that girl. Nobody heard from her. Where is she? And of course, he's acting dumb. He's being real smug about it. And Fatima tells him, like, listen, I already got a bone to pick with you because of Zach's money, so don't push me too far. And then, he's still being smart or whatever. And she pulls out a blade. Pulls out a razor blade and puts it to his throat and tells him, listen, don't piss me off. Do not piss me off. And about time, in my opinion. Somebody should have really put the fear of God in him and get some action, get some act right, because he's doing a whole lot to a whole lot of people and ain't nobody putting a pause on him. And that's where we're at. Of course, he's still playing dumb and Andy's able to talk Fatima down, at least for now. And she tries to play on his sympathy, letting him know, like, listen, she's the mother of your child. Like, something, you should feel some kind of way, and he does not. He's still not budging on the answers, so he's not moved. Dr. Phillips from the hospital calls Karen as soon as she gets home and tells her that the results are in for the paternity test. Zach indeed is the father of one of the two babies. While rare, it is possible for fraternal twins to have different fathers, and the tests have proved that, Zach is the father of one and not the father of the other. And so, as we have been predicting for 2 seasons, Zach is one father, and I'm sure Aaron is the other baby father. Now, if they say Aaron not the other baby daddy, I'm not going to be worth a damn hill of beans. It's just going to really blow me back. But we should presume that, Zach is the father of one, and Aaron is the father of Aaron? Is it Aaron? I forgot the man's name. I think it's Aaron. It's the father of the other child, and that is where we end. That is how we end episode 11, season 7, episode 11. When we come back from the break, we see some images of what that looks like. Next time we come back, Fatima's going to have the blade back up to Gary because you're still playing games. Tony asked Danny to babysit the kids because he's got to run out of time. He's got to do something and he needs this favor. That's going to be interesting because the kids are going to find her fuzzy pink handcuffs and start asking questions. And at this point, you should have put your things up. You knew they would come in. You know they nosy. Andy has to tell Jordan about Gary's bad deeds and, of course, how that led to Penelope's potential disappearance and all this good stuff. We also see Andy, Gary, and Jordan down at the police precinct, and the guys are about to get into it. So, yeah. Hopefully, we don't take 5,000 months to come back and we don't forget what happens. But, again, we're at the mid-season finale. Left on a little bit of a cliffhanger, but things also kind of wrapped up in a nice pretty bow, so we can wait until they come back. In the meantime, let me know what you think about the episode. Let me know what you think about the season so far. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll be back in a couple months once this picks up. In the meantime, I'll be over doing Ruthless and shopping hauls and whatever show. I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up a new show because a lot of my shows are on hiatus at the same time. We'll see, because all 3 of the shows that I reviewed were on at the same time at a particular point throughout the last month, so I'm exhausted, but we'll see. I also got some other content coming, some family type content. I'm gonna have some family coming in town, and so y'all could be entertained by somebody other than me. Either way, said all that to say, like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.